What's up, YouTube? Chances are, if you click this video, you're a cheap bastard like I am, and you want cool shit, but you don't want to pay a whole lot for it. I got you, fam. Hey YouTube, if you're here today, I get it. Champagne taste on a beer budget. You want cool guy gear without paying cool guy prices. I 100% understand. So today, we're going to learn how to build your own set of PVS-14 night vision goggles. Not really goggles, but whatever. Believe it or not, building a set of these PVS-14s is not that complicated and really doesn't require a whole lot of special tools. The basic things you need I have laid out here. You'll want a can of compressed air, some dielectric grease, and really this is only for lubing up some of the O-rings and threads, small pair of pliers, a little pick or an awl, a little hex head screwdriver. Now they say you want a 5/64 size. I don't have that, but this is a 2mm and that works as well. And maybe a couple small flatheads, some gloves, nitrile, latex, whatever. And maybe the most important thing, but the most neglected thing, is this mat that I'm working on. It's an anti-static mat. I believe it's made of like silicone, but you'll see it's grounded to an outlet to myself. I'm all about saving money, but if you're going to take on this project, you're going to spend at least $1,000, probably more. Do yourself a favor, don't be a cheap fucker, spend an extra $20, get yourself a good mat, ground yourself out, because the last thing you want to do is spend all the money for these parts and then just get some static electricity and boom, now you've got a $1,000 paperweight. There's really only two major components of building your own set of PVS-14s. The first is the PVS-14 housing and parts kit. The second is the Image Intensifier tube. This is the heart of your night vision and what you're probably going to spend the majority of your money on. So now your question is probably how much? This parts kit runs about $700, and I have used Superior Tactical LLC the last few times to build them. And no, they're not paying me to say any of this. I've just found that they sell these kits for the cheapest I've found so far, and they're good quality and they ship quickly. The kit will come with a couple other things other than the housing and some of the other parts that are inside of here. This little bag of goodies. Dumb. Important. The kit will also come with a huge operator's manual that you'll probably never read, and a couple lens tissue paper. Here's the Image Intensifier tube that I'm using. You'll see up here by my finger, MX-11769. That is the part you're going to be looking for. It will come with this little ribbon cable attached, and this particular tube will allow you to adjust the gain of your night vision. In other words, you can lighten and darken what you're looking at when your nods are on. So what's the price for one of these, you're probably asking? Well, it depends. If you're willing to buy a used one, an old one, maybe one with some blemishes, you can save upwards from hundreds to $1,000+ doing this whole thing yourself. How much image quality are you willing to sacrifice to save money? You can get some pretty busted up versions of these guys that work, but you might have like less than half of an actual viewable image, and those guys are only might be, you know, a couple $100 or so. I'd say if you're willing to spend about $1,000, you can get something that I would grade like a B plus quality, which might have some acceptable blemishes, but little to no scratches, and something that you should be comfortable running in your setup, even though they might be a little older. I mean, if you look at this guy, you can see the warranty expiration date was January 2010. It's February 2023, folks. These fuckers expired 13 fucking years ago. Do you think that's going to stop me from rocking them? Hell no. The purists out there will probably tell you, no, you gotta buy new. What if the Soviets are gonna come and paratroopers in China and they're gonna come over the mountains, blah, 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 blah. I mean, in a perfect world, yeah, we'd all love to have brand new shit. But I'll straight up tell you, as a dude that served as an infantryman as well as in a Ranger Battalion, you're never going to get new shit if you serve. You're going to get hand-me-down shit. It's very, very rare that you're going to get anything brand new, open box. And guess what? You're not the asshole that's going to get it. It's going to be some other fucking asshole who outranks you that's going to get the brand new shit. And you're going to get the other hand-me-down shit. So very rarely will you be even getting a brand new pair of NAS that you'll be expected to train, deploy, and possibly engage an enemy with. So hey, that's just my 2-cent little rant bullshit, whatever. I've built a couple pairs now. I feel comfortable running them, using them. You know, honestly, I use them more for recreation than anything else. Okay, your next question is probably, where can I buy one of these guys? There's a couple resources out there on the internet for you. There's night vision forums that usually might have like a for sale section. There's certain gun firearm forums out there, also for sale sections. eBay has these up for sale sometimes, and I'll give you a tip. If you look very carefully, there are some sellers that are consistently selling these out of certain locations that I would suggest are probably selling you a legit product and not something that is a Chinese knockoff. Alright, boys and girls, let's get to building. Take these caps off both ends. And now you're just going to unscrew the whole rear half of this guy. Alright, right off, put it there. We'll get our 5/64 or 2mm hex head screwdriver, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. With the 4 screws moved, you should be able to pry this guy right open like this. And watch that ribbon cable here. That's for the auto off feature on the night vision. And here we go. That's your empty lens housing. Now sometimes when you're buying these guys used, these pins may be slightly bent. This one's pretty good, but you can kind of see one of these pins has got a little bend to it. Actually, it looks like 2 of them do. It's really not that big of a deal. I mean, these are delicate parts, but just get yourself a small pair of needle nose. You don't need to even use a whole lot of pressure here. These guys are pretty malleable. There you go. Alright, you got your empty housing. Go ahead and take the battery housing, and we're going to plug this guy in here. this works. This ribbon cable attaches to those two little posts. Just like that. Alright, now we're going to put this guy, the image intensifier, in there, and you want it to go this way. So I'm going to feed that ribbon pigtail through first. It's a notch right here. It's got to line up with this pin here. Just like that. Now go ahead and install your gain control pigtail. And there's really only one way to do it here. You'll see how the pins go accordingly. Voila! Looks like that. So one thing is, you close this housing, be very, very careful with those ribbons. This one especially will want to fold into itself. So I'll usually kind of line it up from this end and then clamshell it from there. That way it's not pinching anything. Alright, let's go ahead and install that light pipe now. As you can see, it says up. So this is going to go up. And there's a little tab you're going to have to line up as well. And you'll see it here. See that? Where the threads stop. Make sure it's sitting down in there pretty flush. Now when you go to put your retainer ring on, a little tip is to go ahead and loosen up the ocular lens and make sure that this guy is seated down. You want to have as much meat, as much threads on there for that ring to bite down on, because these things like to cross thread real easy. Huge pain in the ass. I'm going to show you a trick here how to make a cheap tool to install the retaining ring. Just get yourself an old credit card, plastic card, whatever. I've taped this here, lining up the notches, and then I'm just going to cut maybe about a ½ inch from the ends to kind of make a key of sorts. Here you go. Now we have a little key that we can use. I got my handy dandy retainer key here, and you don't need to use a whole lot of pressure, folks. You're not trying to cross thread this shit. And there you go. In there, seated nice and flush. Hell yeah. And now we'll reinstall that rear lens. I'm just going to take a little more of that dielectric grease, not a whole lot here. Just put some on the threads. And same deal here, you make sure you don't cross thread these guys. These are very, very, very fine threads here. Just get it started a little bit. Go lefty loosey first, and then righty tighty. And it should just go on pretty easy. If you have any resistance, stop and do it again. There you go. Your assembled PVS-14. One of the things I forgot to mention is that for the battery compartment, you've got this little cap right here that's got little steel lanyard on it. What you can do with that lanyard Let's get this cap off here. This one hex screw by it, you'll see that it's got a little hole in it. That's where that lanyard's supposed to go. So now you can loosen up those two screws on this side. Get that guy right in there. And then put your screw back into place. Okay, you want to make sure that the housings are sealed and flushed, both sides, not pinching anything. You'll see that this guy is actually through the hole, not actually stuck between the halves. You want to make sure that there's no gaps because you want to make sure this whole unit has got a nice airtight seal. Okay, so we've got our PVS-14 night vision assembled here. Now there's one more extra step that we want to take. These are actually sealed units, and if you buy one like new from the factory, it's going to be sealed with nitrogen. I don't have any nitrogen, but I've heard that argon could be used as a gas instead to fill. So because I have a TIG welder, I also have a bottle of argon. And here's what I use when I want to purge. It's just nothing but a little needle valve used for filling up like a basketball or volleyball or whatever, and just a hose clamp to keep that guy secure. So I'll take your little cap, put that back on, get yourself a small tip flathead screwdriver, undo that little screw there. And keep in mind there is also a tiny little O-ring that's seated along with that screw, so go ahead and pull that guy out too. Alright, let's get the gas flowing here. We don't need a lot, so I'm going to set this thing pretty low. Right about there. It's about 10 CFH cubic feet per hour. You might be able to hear that, but there is gas coming out of that needle valve. Alright, let's go ahead and stick that needle down in there. And give it about 60 seconds or so. So PVS-14s, you know, my first experience with them was when I was in basic training. This would have been early 2008. I remember the first time I got them, tried them, they were like really shitty. Hindsight 2020, either the set that I got were defective or the gain was turned down way too low. They don't exactly teach you how to use these things. They're just like, here, put this on, private, brr. And then when you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you get all smoked and shit like you're supposed to know the first time. So yeah, I had PVS-14s in basic. My first deployment with 2nd Ranger Battalion, I had PVS-14s for that whole trip. PVS-14s are cool. Are there better nods out there? Yeah, of course, but like how much do you want to spend? And if you want to get into like, you know, legit Gen 3 technology, it's hard to beat these guys. I mean, they've been around for, you know, 30 fucking years now. They're tried and true, right? There's still a huge aftermarket. It's easy to get parts for these guys. But you do lose depth perception with only having a singular, you know, goggle, a singular monocular. And I'll tell you a funny story. It was we were doing an exfil from a mission in Afghanistan, and we were on foot. I don't even know how long it was. Probably like a 3K exfil from this location. And I just had the 14s, which fuck with your depth perception, right? And so I'm walking along, you know, and I see what looks to be like a little shortcut, and I'm like, oh, cool, you know, I just go through this little shortcut here. It just had like a little depression. Yeah, that fucking depression turned out to be like a 6-foot fucking drop off, dude. Like, I totally ate my shit fucking upside down. At the time, I had to carry the big medical NART bag. That motherfucker was like head over heels on top of me. I look like a monkey fucking a football. And all the dudes are like, what the fuck? I'm looking ate the fuck up as a brand new private on my first deployment. So yeah, these things will fuck with your depth perception for sure. Just keep that in mind. Alright, and that should be enough time there, and we'll go ahead and put this screw back on. Alright, let's go ahead and take this battery cap off. Diagram shows you positive, negative. Alright, here we go. Let's go try them out. So this is a really dark room. You probably can't see shit. I can't see shit. I do have my nods on without the IR activated. I mean, I can see when they're up against my eye, but I'm having a really hard time picking up on the camera. But the camera does do a very good job once I've got that IR light completely activated. As you can see damn near everything in this room. Now this particular set, this particular image intensifier I'm using, this one costs about $1,100. I don't see any scratches. Maybe a few little blems. I'm really looking at it. I'll have to like put it up against like a white wall or something. Alright, YouTube, I don't know if this is coming out clear. I found a kind of a darker spot out here. And you can see all the stars in the sky here. If I can get it focused. But the 14 allows you to have infinite focus. I mean, you can... This is how dark it is on camera. I don't have the IR light on either. Alright, here it is up against my white garage door. I mean, it looks pretty good to me. I wish I had like a better way to get video picture quality with these nods, but this is what an $1,100 used image intensifier can look like. Now to put that in perspective, this is what an $800 image intensifier looks like. You can see that there is a visible scratch on there, but for me it doesn't affect performance. I'm still okay using these. I've certainly used worse ones when I was in the military. Alright YouTube, there you go. That's how you build yourself a PVS-14s and save yourself a little bit of money. So, to conclude, if you're going to buy a brand new set of PVS-14s, say if you go through like the Night Vision company, and there's several other Night Vision retailers out there, you're going to spend about $3 grand as of early 2023, as of now. You know, if you want to build your own, you can build them from... You know, depending on if you can get a good deal and what you're willing to sacrifice in regards to the image intensifier, you can build a set of these for $1,500 to $2,000. So ultimately the choice is yours, but I like building them. It's kind of fun. Obviously it's not real labor intensive. You don't require anything special other than, of course, the purge process. And there's guys out there that don't even purge these, and they don't have any issues. And if you're wondering what the big deal is about purging these things, it's mainly to keep moisture out from the inside so these won't fog up on you. But you know, if you got a bottle of argon handy, you know, someone that's got a nitrogen purge kit. I've seen guys, you can watch other YouTube videos where they're using, I don't know what the hell, some spray argon bullshit for fucking wine preservation or whatever. So there's a couple things you could do, man. So yeah, don't be scared. It's not a real hard process. If you have any other questions, you know, send it in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that bullshit. We'll catch you next time.